We've been told that a lot of people are interested in selling things for themselves. So today we have the Kelowna Farmers Market manager, Francis, to give you all the insider scoop about selling at the farmers market. At 25 years old, I'm of the opinion you can't get better than the Kelowna Farmers Market, and people agree because in 2019 it won Best Farmers Market of the Year. I believe a lot of our success that we're going to be able to achieve here on the farm is based on the food culture that has already been created in Kelowna. And so we need to give a huge thank you out to the Kelowna Farmers Market, because I don't think we could do what we are currently doing without that market having already been here for 25 years. It has an amazing, friendly atmosphere that you feel not only as a customer, but also as someone selling. We love spending our time at the market, and we're super excited for this year to be doing both Wednesdays and Saturdays. We also love how educated the Kelowna Farmers Market customers are. They know food. There's so many things that we can bring to the market that you do not see at the grocery store that they recognize and they want. The customers also will buy things by name, and they're excited for new things that we can show them and expand for them. So this market is amazing. We socially distanced for this interview, so I'm gonna take the camera and I'm gonna get Ian to ask some questions.
Okay, question number one, Francis. Let's give us a little introduction and tell us about yourself and the farmers market.
My name is Frances Callahan, so I am your market coordinator at the Kelowna Farmers Market. I've been there now just over 4.5 years as the market coordinator. Before that, I sat on their board for 2 years, and I've actually been a vendor at the Kelowna Farmers Market for about 12 years. Kelowna Farmers Market has actually moved around a bit. It actually at one time was downtown Kelowna, and it was on Thursday nights, because now we're at the corner of the Dilworth and Springfield. And when it moved there and it only had 5 vendors. As of today, I have 265 vendors that have come to our farmers market now, as of 2020.
What do you want new vendors to know before their first market?
Main thing that we ask our new vendors that are coming, that want to be part of the Kelowna Farmers Market, is to do their homework. Come out for a visit, walk through the market, see what the market looks like, what the setups at the market is. Our rules, our policies are all always online for us. So we always say, do your homework before you apply, because it's easier than at that time than when you do apply to come in. You already know what some of the expectations are that are coming into the farmers market. So that's what we always say, do your homework first. But I really say, come out and take a visit through the farmers market first. Yeah, so basically too, when new vendors are applying to come to the market, what we do is once we've received their application, we go through their application. We look at if they've got everything like their insurance, or if they're food vendors, they got their market safe or the food safe. And we reply back to them with an email and saying that all is good, or if they're missing something, we let them know that they have to have before they can come to market. Also, we give them a checklist, so we let them know what time they got to be there, what time they need to be set up before they get juried in, their weights, how much the weights have to be, explaining what the jury board's going to look at when they're jurying them for the first day. So if they're looking, they're going to be looking at signage. They'll be looking at pricing, how their setup is. That's the one thing we do at the market there. And then, like I said, in the first day coming to the market, when you're coming, if you don't have these things that we've already put in place for you when you first come the first day of the market, you sort of get that you're not really juried in. You are basically said you're on a wait list until you put all these things back into place. So you do get a checklist from us, and we ask you to go through the checklist. The other thing that we've done, and we've started it last year at the market, is that we're trying to give new vendors, tag them up with older vendors so they can be mentored. An older vendor will help a new vendor out and help them out and say, okay, well, next time, if you need a new signage or where to get your signage, go here because you get a better price. So, working as a team is what we try to do. And I do enjoy that part of the farmers market when I listen, seeing vendors help each other out. And they're not jealous of it. They're actually there to help them out, you know. I see it among farmers. You know, I mean, I listen to sometimes the conversations, and they're both, let's say, both garlic growers, but they're each telling each other what they do and how they can get this working, which is really neat to see because they're working together and not apart and not worried about, well, he's going to have more garlic than me, or, you know, and that's what's nice to see. Also, with the new vendors coming in, their expectations are when they come in with their products or thing is they're going to make all this money the first time they come.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at the end of the day, some of them are disappointed. Well, they didn't sell anything, but that's part of the market. That's part of the business. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have days you're going to get skunked. But overall, don't come with the expectation that you're going to sell everything you have that day you come. If you do, good luck.
What are the characteristics of a successful market vendor?
What makes a good vendor at a farmer's market, or, you know, or just an overall vendor that people or customers really want to, that actually plan their day coming to the farmer's market because of that vendor. And it's not always just the product they're carrying, it's their attitude at the market. It's their presentation of their booth, how they set themselves up, being helpful, educating your customers about your products, and helpful to all your fellow vendors. I think a lot of respect. I watch a lot of them at farmers markets, and they're friends, they're family, they just connect so well together. And I think it makes a big difference, because when you see smiles and you see people happy at farmers market, the vendors, it makes your customers feel it's a great place to come and shop. And that's what I find. Just don't, you know, I don't like seeing vendors sit back and read a book. They're not relating to their customers. They got like a wall up, and well, they're just here for I just got to sell my stuff and go home type of thing. And yeah, I don't think that works very well. And educate your customers of your product. A lot of people, like, and especially with the farmers and the new food out there, and the new vegetables or new fruit. A lot of people don't know what to do with them. So the more you educate, the more they're going to come back, because they want to know more about that product, or they want to learn more. And that's the biggest tool you have, is teaching your customers about yourself. Some of the things not to do as a vendor is, the worst thing is hawking. There's nothing worse than a vendor hawking at a market. Hawking means you're being very loud about and approaching the customers outside your territory. I always say your booth has a territory. And if a customer's walking down the center of the aisle, you shouldn't be calling out to them and say, hey, do you like my product? Come and see. You know, that's hawking. Let the customer come to you. Don't go yelling at the customer, because it just makes especially some people don't like that, and they'll walk away. But what's the worst part about it, they walk away from your neighbor as well. And that vendor has just maybe lost a sale because of what you were doing with you as a vendor. So that's one of the worst things I think any vendor can do at a farmer's market, is hawk. I know some markets, I've seen it, other markets, they allow it. Just at our market, and a lot of the other markets I've been at, don't allow it. It's disrespectful to your fellow vendors. Worst thing to do at a market, gossip. You know, just putting down fellow vendors or whatever, you know, that's bad attitude. That's, you know, don't come with a bad attitude, you know. So work together, get along together, and that's what I say makes a good vendor.
Is there anything we've done
As a vendor that you have...
Because you can gossip about us. Is there anything that we've done?
No, I mean, the thing is that I've always enjoyed you guys coming to the farmers market.
Are there things that you can do to get kicked out of a market?
Absolutely. Actually, there's a few, you know, not a lot, but there is things that really, you know, we stand as a make it, bake it, or grow market. Resellers. Bringing products in that are not yours. Maybe going to a store and buying jewelry and reselling the jewelry, and you're saying it's yours. Definitely, that's you're not part of the farmers market. So we definitely will never put up with resellers. We actually give you the one to boot out. The other thing is disrespecting your fellow vendors. We have a point, sort of a written notice type of thing. So, you know, we give a notice, a verbal warning, a written warning, and the third warning. Basically, it goes in front of the board, and the board decides whether or not you'll be back in the market. Things like being late, not showing up. So there's all these little things that give you a blacklisted when you're at the market. So I always say is, if you're given a warning, there's a reason for it. So be smart about it and learn from it. I've had vendors come in scream and yell at me, because I'm trying to enforce the rules. And it takes my patience. But, and then of course, I try, to be very, and explain the rules, but some people just don't see it that way. You've got some older vendors that have been there a while. They don't like change. And that's the other thing sometimes as a manager, when you're trying to discipline and change things, they don't like that. So of course it causes issues, and then they start gossiping about among themselves, and that can cause, again, more issues. And the other thing I noticed too a few times in the times I've been there is vendors complaining about other vendors without knowing the facts. And that doesn't make very well for within the market. So we strive to make our market well, with less gossiping, everyone getting along. I mean, you can't control it, but I always say if you don't have something nice to say about somebody, don't say it at all. Like, just keep it to yourself.
Lots of people don't know this, but the hottest time of day at a farmer's market is in the morning when everybody's trying to park. All the vendors can get a little bit cranky. So could you talk for a second just about how important it is to park safely and, control your vehicle?
Mornings can be a little rough in the market in the morning with vendors coming in with their cars and trucks and trailers. We've tried to say that day vendors, which are not our season vendors, come in by a certain time and get themselves in with their cars and get themselves. Not all vendors are allowed to keep their cars or trucks, and that causes issues because they say, well, they can keep theirs, why can't I keep mine? And we always say if it doesn't fit in your stall, you can't keep it. So then afterwards, we ask our season vendors to come in a little later, but that doesn't always work either. And it's always been a struggle ever since I've been at that market. It's always been a struggle in the morning with people's cars and trucks. I mean, even in the aisles when people are trying to unload their cars into their booths, I mean, they literally will block so another car can't pass. And it's so frustrating. It's like I'm a traffic control person sometimes in the morning, and it's like you're running from one end of the market to the other end because this one doesn't want to move their car because they haven't unloaded, but they don't get the thought they move closer, so another car. So that is probably their biggest struggle at the farmers market, and I still haven't been able to control that one yet. So
one of the main reasons why Ian is the person who sells at the farmer's market and not me is I am a horrible driver, and I totally know about the market chaos. I've done markets by myself, and I can't do it. I can't go. Frances she'd be blacklisted me and kicking me out if I was the one trying to bring a truck in there.
What can you do to make your overall market better?
make your market a destination. Make it where they want to come. Planning a vacation, make sure that the farmer's market is on their checklist, that they're coming out to see your farmer's market. Make it family oriented. Don't make it about shopping. Make it fun. Make it that people want to stick around, enjoy the music, have games, do something for the kids. So get it as a community involved market. Bring your community within your market as well, because it's really important to just be something to enjoy when you go out for that 4 or 5 hours, and you can go home and you can call your friends and say, guess where I was today? It was the best place ever. And that's what's really important. And there's just a nice atmosphere. Cause that atmosphere that people enjoy. It's always like festivals. Always try to bring something into the market that's new or something exciting. Like when I do festivals, I do like maybe cherry pie contests or bake apple pies, or we did a garlic festival where we brought people, garlic farmers from all of BC to this market, even though they're not part of our market. We opened the doors up to other farmers to come, or other vendors. We made games. We put games together. We had competitions like Jenga, and there's different, tic-tac-toe games. So it was just little things that didn't cost a lot, but made a lot of impressions on people coming into our farmers market. Once a year, we had a appreciation day for farmers, and we did parade it maybe through the market. Music, big thing. There's a lot of young musicians out there. Bring them into your market. Let people get to know who they are. And the other big thing we have at our market is a mascot. Our farmer Bob. He is our one thing go-to for kids at the farmer's market. He makes the market what it is sometimes. Yeah. So little things like that.
The Kelowna's Farmers Market is Wednesdays and Saturdays, but there's also a bunch of satellite markets. So could you elaborate a little bit on that?
What happens is the Kelowna market right now, as it stands, we call the main part of the market, has grown so much that we've actually outgrown ourselves. And as well as Kelowna has grown. So there's parts of Kelowna we as a market haven't even reached yet. So that was the idea of starting a satellite market. Let's go reach the downtown core, because Kelowna being a busy city, people don't want to drive. They want to walk, but trying to get a case of potatoes or a case of peaches home on a bike ain't gonna work. So we thought, okay, let's try and get a satellite market downtown, because it's growing, new buildings going up. So that's why that satellite market we put on downtown to get it going. As it is, like you said, the main market is so congested right now, and everything is being built around us, and we don't have a place that we call home. So basically we're there as a year to year. So next year we could be told you're out of there. The satellite market, because we got it, if the market ever had to close down at that thing, we have a place we could take that main market until we find another place. So the market will always have a place to go. The other thing is, now there's other parts of Kelowna that we feel that we need to reach new people and get out there. I know you talked about, asked me about starting markets. And that's what I did in the Mission just recently. I started a market out there, bringing part of Kelowna farmers out there to the Mission area. I made it a food hub. It's on Sundays where farmers can't be, a lot of farmers, they need a day off. So we made a food hub. So we have food from a lot of the farmers out there for the Mission area to come out. So we are looking for other satellites throughout Kelowna. It just takes the pressure off the main market. Because right now, technically, if we really wanted to, if we jury any more people into that market, we have no place to put them. And it's not fair to bring people in and then say, sorry, I don't have a space for you. So that's what we're trying to do. We're even thinking maybe a night market. That would help a lot too, just to take the pressure. We always say there's a lot of pressure on that market.
Do different markets have different customers?
Markets do have different customers. There's a different clientele for different markets. Let's say if you're out in the country, those little country markets, you'll have a different clientele from a main market, only because a lot of the little country markets already have little farmers and they do a lot of their own farming. So they're basically, those clients that are going to the market are basically going to be going for like cheese or meats, but they're not really going to go there for the vegetables because they're already growing those vegetables. And then you've got your main markets, and a lot of those people going to the main markets. Yeah, they're going for their fruits or vegetables, but a lot of them too, also the bigger markets, they go for the artisans. A lot of them are tourism that go to the major markets and at that time of year. So each time of year it changes as well, because when you start a market, it's your locals that are supporting that farmer's market. Then you get to your tourist season, it's the tourism that's supporting. So your locals are now gone away on their vacation and your tourism has come in. And then once that happens, then you're back to your locals finishing off the farmer's market. Even your winter markets that we do, it's your locals that are supporting these markets, and it's not your tourism. You'll see a few people come through, but it's mostly your locals. So it's always that time frame of the year what you see. Your tourist starts probably around mid-June and goes to just before September. And that's why at our market, so many people want to be part of come in at Kelowna Farmers Market. And that's why they want to be Saturdays, because most of your tourism shops on the weekends and not on the Wednesdays, even though we try to promote the Wednesday market. And that's where sometimes we run into issues with our market being overflowing, because we can't fit all those vendors in anymore. So again, goes to the satellite market. Our farmers market will always be farmers first. It's always been that rule, and that will never change. Farmers have to get their produce to the tables of people. You can't just take it home and keep it for next month, where an artisan can, or someone who does preserves can. So we always say farmers, no matter what, always has a place in the farmers market. And you'll also find that your locals will when it's that busy part of the season, they'll shop Wednesdays and not Saturdays, because Saturday is so busy and packed. People don't like to stop. It's just too much for them. A lot of people won't even go on the Saturday anymore, and that's them saying that to us.
I just want to say thank you to Frances for doing this video with us. I think there's lots of good information in here, and hopefully it helps you out if you become a vendor, or if you're not a vendor, if you're just watching because it's interesting, then make sure you go and you support your local farmers market, because there's lots of hardworking local farmers and vendors of all sorts that need your support.